Good day everyone, so let's run a bit of a Kokomi Taser team. So there's not a lot that you can really expect. I will point out some interesting things, but the 4 stars obviously just have 4-star weapons, and for the most part we're just going to be doing normal Taser things, so there'll be some successes and some failures. So as you can see right off the bat, what I'm doing is I'm using Sucrose's elemental skill to crowd control the enemy, so when they get into their wind-up attack, you can interrupt them. You can even interrupt the little phase where they summon the jewel, like the little tiger is going to do right now. You can interrupt it. I would highly not recommend not doing so, because then you'll lose out on a lot of damage. But this is typically what you'd want to do with the enemies. You crowd control them, you wait to get them into a corner here, and then you can take them out. So this first set batch of enemies, I think, is pretty straightforward. This is nothing special here. The problem now is, of course, we're not really optimally positioned for the second waves. Our cooldowns don't really align, so you can see we don't have a beta burst there. The little crocodile does not want to come in, so immediately these enemies are separated, which kind of loses the power of Taser. So this is the frustration that I would believe a lot of people have in this Spiral Abyss. Even if you have a good first wave, the RNG might be really, really bad, and then on the second wave you just don't get lucky. So you can see here I've set up, and now finally these enemies are grouped up, so the Taser can take effect. Like, Taser is incredibly strong when you use Sucrose in this manner to drive it. It's so good, but obviously you do require the enemies to be stacked together, and this is precisely why a lot of people prefer someone like Kazuha, because unlike Sucrose, whom has to like swirl in front of her, Kazuha sucks the enemies in at his position, so it doesn't matter if they're in front or behind him. And that's a good reason to pick him up if you do so want to get him. And of course, the other fact that Kazuha himself gives you an elemental damage bonus for your Kokomi and your Beidou and Fischl, and Sucrose can only give you one elemental bonus with her elemental burst, which is also going to be less. So getting a higher damage bonus, better CC, that's just what makes Kazuha better and more preferable in these Taser teams. But if you can play with Sucrose, then it's certainly doable. I think for a lot of people on that final floor, as long as you can get about a minute and 45, or like it takes you about a minute and 50, you'll have more than enough time to take out the Iniquitous Baptist. Certainly if you can beat the first chamber, you'll easily be able to beat him. I don't think he's that much of a very difficult enemy. In any case, so you might be wondering, well, why don't we really showcase much more of Kokomi Taser? Well, as strong as it can be, especially if you play it right and so on, there's just a better option, and that is your Kokomi Hyper Bloom and obviously Nilo Bloom teams. Not to mention that if you do have Kazuha, you can run like a serious freeze team with Kokomi in for these first halves as well. So from that perspective, it's a team you can use Kokomi in, but from a really meta and like a comfy gameplay experience perspective, there are definitely better teams that are as more suited to getting the most out of what you can with Kokomi than just the Taser team. But certainly she is valuable here. Obviously the healing together with the shields and stuff, very important. But yeah, that is just the nature of the game. So way back when we had less stronger enemies, the Taser we had more like little small what do you call it, enemy grunts and so on, like easy enemies as opposed to more elite enemies. And in environments like that, a Kokomi Taser is just gonna absolutely destroy. But obviously with these bigger enemies, more difficult crowd control, more abilities, it's a bit more difficult, but Kokomi has many other teams that she can use effectively, including Burgeon, of course. So yeah guys, that's it for this video. There's not much else I've got to say. Hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.